What's up, people? Oh, man, my headphones are just not liking me right now. Alright, there we go. What's up? How are y'all doing? How you feeling? Are y'all doing okay? I'm hurting. But I figured I'm still streaming, right? Don't want to get yelled at. So we'll do a quick stream for that's not the right pen. A quick stream for like a wrap up. He survived. I know, right? No, go away. It was rough. Come to find out that anime conventions have way longer hours than regular conventions. So yeah, I'm hurting. Like, I'm not kidding. It went from 10 to 10. 10 to 10. On, what was it? Friday and Saturday. So yeah, I'm hurting just a little bit, or a lot, however you want to see it. But to be honest though, pretty pretty much enjoying the fact it was a good interaction with people, and people seemed pretty interested about what's to come. So that was nice. Wish there would have been more on the financial side, but I found out that anime conventions, the way that people present their work and how consumers consume the visual art that they want, is completely different than a Comic-Con. Because at the anime conventions, everyone puts everything up front. Like, it's like, bam, here's, banners up top, and it's overloaded, and all their stuff, and they almost don't have a place to see people, because they've set up that storefront, and every inch is being used. But the benefit to that is that you go, this is what I have. Nobody's guessing. Nobody has to go, hey, do you have this? Or, I was wondering if, because it's like, what you see is what you get. Unlike with Comic-Cons, where they, everyone has a whole bunch of books, portfolios and stuff like that, and they want you to interact with the books. They want you to look through it. They want you to, like, engage with what you're doing and flip the pages and stuff like that. So yeah, it was an eye-opener, because I was the only one there with with like multiple portfolios. It's like, hey, here's this, or here's that. So it was very interesting to see. So that was kind of cool. I mean, it was one of those ones that hurt me, financially, because I was not catering to the consumer that was there. But besides that, it was pretty good. Now, I don't know, like, I can hear my own voice, and I can hear that it's, my voice is strained, because, I mean, it's a convention, so, you're naturally talking louder than normal, but I had on 2 masks, because, well, I don't trust them people. So even though there was a mask mandate, you know what I mean? Everyone was wearing a mask, but I was definitely taking all the precautions. There we go. So trying to talk to people was extremely hard. But, you know, whoops. It is what it is. And I did survive, so, whoops. So, as we live and learn, I got to talk to some people, got some good advice for some aspects of what I want to do for Ninja Empire. So, that should be coming, you know, got to do my due diligence on that, but I was super excited to get that information. So, should be some really cool stuff. Thank you for those biddies. Should be pretty cool coming forward, or going forward. So, you know, we're all in. All in. People were really there, they were completely freaked out. They're like, oh my goodness, is this all you? And that was another thing. Like, there wasn't a lot of original content. You know, like, there are people who did original drawings and stuff like that, but there wasn't really a lot of... Oh, no! You mean to tell me I did all that on the wrong layer? Oh, come on. Alright, let's see if we can select it, though. I'm like, let's see if we can select that. Hey, Redacted, what's going on, man? I'm like, let's see if it's there now. Haha, yes, sweet. Look at that, we saved it. Alright, don't care about that line. Ah, the beauty of digital. You can mess up and still save it. So that's nice. But, you know, in traditional, I wouldn't have all these layers, so it wouldn't really matter. So, you know, but there wasn't a lot of, like I said, there wasn't a lot of original content. So when people came by and they're like, oh man, what's this? Or they saw the stickers and they're like, oh man, I remember this character. And it's like, no, you really don't. Or this looks like, you know, it's like, oh, this looks like so-and-so. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not. You know, like, oh, it's a new version of Scorpion. It's like, nope, but thank you, because I'm cool with that. But everyone was like, oh my goodness, did you do all this? Is this all you? And it's like, yeah. And they're like, oh my goodness. So they were very excited about that, but you know, it was kind of crazy. So, but like I said, it was a lot of fan art, a lot of prints, and I wasn't ready for that. Like, I'm ready for AwesomeCon, right? Like that's the layout that I'm ready for. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out when we go to AwesomeCon in a couple weeks. Oh, did you see the arts I posted? I kind of glimpsed at them, but since I was at OTAKON this weekend, I really didn't get time to interact with it. Like, it popped up and it told me. It was like, hey, you know, this happened. I'm like, oh, people are posting. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to have to get to everyone tomorrow. You know, get a little rest in and then get back to everybody. So... So yeah, so I'll see it, but I think it was like seemed like you were doing mostly it. What it seemed like was you were doing studies, you know, like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, that kind of thing. Is that true? Did I see that right? What is... Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Why do I have all these layers wrong? Okay, so turn that off. Okay, these are just 2 extra layers. Okay. Hey, what's up?
I'm just looking at what you were doing.
I'm inking up this guy so that I can make one more extra poster. Okay, so I don't need to do that. That's good. Is he? Huh? Joshua.
Huh?
Is he?
What's going on with that?
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. I think it's because I didn't set the table right.
No, I don't think that was. Don't think it was kind of that. The gerbil with the top hat. Yeah, like I said, I haven't really interacted at all with Discord because I was gone. You know, being at a convention that stays open until 10 p.m. every night was a bit rough. It was a bit rough. So yeah. Forgive me if I didn't catch it. It's like I will though. I will be checking it out for sure. So how have you all been on this fine weekend? You created a martial road and you have a large mustache with curls and very bushy eyebrows. And, you know, just so you know, like it says it already, right? Short stream. It is going to be a short stream because, well, like I said, you know what? I can fix things. Because, well, I want to recover. So, like I said, we're gonna take it a little easy. Have a shorter stream so that we can, you know, come back nice and strong on Monday. There we go. Make his chin a little bit more, you know, normal. Phone is going bananas. What's going on? Nothing. Okay. What? What was that? What? It's always weird when you find something and it's like, wait, what? Oh. Don't care. Okay. But wouldn't a short stream be like 9 seconds? It could be. It's like it could be if that's what you want. You cut it straight and be like, all right, peace out, Holmes. It's been real. I'll see y'all later. So Redacted, are you ever gonna post some finished work and show us what you do with all that awesomeness that you keep showing us in those short minutes that you've been doing? Because like I said, I know that I saw it. It's just Have you encountered any disrespectful ongoers at conventions or oh yeah. Yes, I have. And it's weird because it seems like it's always people who are trying to who want to give, who want to get something from you, and then when you don't give it to them, they get really angry. And just like, well, I'm sorry. Or they want something for free. They're like, hey, well, what about this? Or hey, what about that? And you're like, well, no, I don't do that. They're like, well, why not? I was like, well, because I don't. And then they get mad. So, but could be a lot worse. I'll draw something and post it on the finish. Okay. Good. Would love to see how how your work finishes. Cause your quick stuff looks really good. Ha 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 ha. I didn't need to do it. Look. It's like, look, Ma, I'm using the tool for what I'm supposed to. Yay. Ooh, man, I need to clean my screen. Goodness. Good S. Ninjas! What's up, Mandla? How's it going? Yep, back from the convention, dying slowly. But it's stream night, so it was like, well, I guess I gotta come in and say hi to people. How you doing? How was your weekend? I know you're super stressful, or super stressed with work and all, but maybe, just maybe, you were able to, have some fun. How was the hunting at the convention? It was alright. It was different. It was a different atmosphere than I was used to, so my setup wasn't the way that people wanted it. So people would just kind of drift by. But those who did stop by, it was very promising, right? So the future looks great. For free art, and cons have artists that are trying to make money. Why the heck would artists? Cons aren't trying to make money. You'd be surprised how many people, and not just like, it's one thing when you have a kid come up and they're like, hey, is there any way that you could do like a scribble or something for me? And they don't care if it's like awesome, or if I draw a head and I just go, here's a stock head that I know how to draw really, really fast. You don't care that it's a character that you don't know. You just wanted someone to draw something for you. Then I'm glad to do those, because I think being able to give a child an experience of like, hey, it was really fun to go and stuff like that is important, right? So that's cool. But I've had adults like straight up ask me like, hey, can I get something for free? It's like, no. They're like, why not? Like, because you're just like, because I don't A, I don't want to, B, I don't have to. So, it's weird. So, yeah. What are you gonna do? Yeah. My movement was in the OK room. Okay. What are the highlights and lowlights? Lowlights was that The air conditioner for the entire convention center was directly above me, so I was freezing. 90 some odd degrees outside, and I was in a sweater. It was bad. Like, sweater, coffee, you know, all the hot stuff, because it was just like, it's so cold. And when people stood by me, my tablecloth, mine and the one next to me, so mine and then the table to my left and to my right were moving, right? Like, all the tablecloths and stuff were moving. We were the only ones. Everyone else's was still. And it was definitely a good 20, 20 degrees is probably much, but everyone else was kind of sweating, and we were all in, like, you know, thick pants. One of the ladies from one of the tables, she came in shorts, and she left in, like, leggings and a sweater, and, you know, it was, you're like, whoa, it was bad. But so that was kind of a low point. Highlight was I got to meet some cool people that will benefit the business. I've had people who have helped me already. They've given me some very helpful information. Another company, I mean, you know, so just the norm, I would say. I didn't make any, nothing was like too crazy, you know. Nobody was like, hey, we work for Netflix, or not Netflix, what is it, Crunchyroll, right? It's like, we love this a lot, you should let us have this. There was nothing like that, but it was fun, you know. It was alright. I would do it again. You never see these types of people at cons begging or asking comic or manga pros with views under their belt for free. You do not. You are absolutely right. You never see them. Not much, not often. Every now and then you will get someone who is, you know, they're just like, oh man, I'm gonna ask, you know, because they're going, well, you never know. No one ever asks them. So if we're sitting here and talking in a panel or something like that, I wonder if I ask them if I could have that, if they'll give it to me, you know. But nobody would come up to them when they're like, hey, this is my signing time, you know, come by, get your stuff signed, all that stuff, and then just randomly come up to you and be like, hey, I was wondering if you'd give me something for free. Yeah, that doesn't happen. If that's the low point, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really any problems. So, like I said, I would do it again. Did you remember the rules? Know your product. Well, I knew my product. What I didn't know was my audience. It's like, so I knew the product. I know my product. I sold that like no one's business. The problem literally was the fact that my setup was meant for a comic book audience, and obviously they weren't comic book audience people, so that didn't work, right? And I was like, okay, so now I know that's how that works, you know. It's like, you need to have all your prints, everything that you're selling, you just need to have up for display, like no questions, no nothing. The idea of multiple portfolios with all your work in it, not something for anime conventions. And I'm like, okay. It was definitely a learning. It was definitely a learning point. So, like I said, I was happy. I'm happy with the experience. It's one of those ones where I'm like, I wish it would have done a little bit better financially, but it didn't do horrible. So you can't really fault it. So. Oh my goodness. There we go. There we go. Okay. A save. At least you could now. Yeah, and I mean, I met some really cool people, And I want to do watercolor covers, and I saw two people who were doing it the exact way that I was really wanting to do it, and they were able to, or willing to, give me the information that I needed so that I could actually do it properly. So it was very, in that aspect, it was very beneficial. So I was very happy to get that. There's a thin line between continuous and get over here, so it's very true. Very true. And that's the thing, like I said, this one, if you were to look at it, you're just like, oh, you just weren't ready. Right? So it's like, honestly, there's one person who had straight up superhero, like the thing they were selling was Spider-Man, right? And it was Western comic style Spider-Man. So they were doing definitely the comics thing. There was another person who was doing comics characters, but they were all like just super sexy posing. So they were kind of going off of that. And well, then there was me, right? But we were doing ninjas, so it wasn't superhero. So I think people were willing to look. And the one thing that really was a high for me, I guess I would have to say, is that every time people looked at my character portfolio, they were like, man, these are some cool designs. I would love to see this show, or I would love to see this comic. So that was nice to hear. It's like, okay, so these characters, at least it's resonating with people, so I'm on the right track, Because if you were doing stuff and then all of a sudden it was just all like, oh wow, look, you're doing stuff, then there might be a bigger problem. Modify, expand by 2. Bam. I do have to say that I do enjoy the fill button. The fill button is very nice. Ooh, except for when you go back and look. Pros out there can be rude with an overinflated ego and treat convos with mouth. Oh no, you are absolutely right. There are people out there, professionals, who just think they're God's gift to the world, and you're just like, you don't have to be a jerk about it. It's like you can just say no, and to whatever may have set you off. Like, you could have just said no. You'll be all right. But a lot of people want to make examples out of people and stuff like that. And it's just weird. I don't understand people who go out of their way to just be rude. Everyone's rude to somebody eventually. That comes out. But they're just like, you know what? I'm gonna be a jerk to this person because I can. There's no reason. There is no reason for that. You know what I mean? That sounds really cool, man. I'm glad that there are some people doing conventions, even though I'm a bit skeptical how safe. Dude, I was doubled masked up. I went through half a bottle of hand sanitizer, and I didn't even touch anybody. I was like, oh man, it's probably just coming through the air, and it's on my hands now. So I was sanitizing and doing all kinds of stuff. So I completely understand. Like, trust me, I understand. But like I said, I kept my distance. I was also double masked up. I was like, you know what? We're gonna take every precaution we possibly can to make sure that, you know, it's not gonna be a problem. Oh man, what is this? The fill button. I know a few artists who aren't necessarily egotistical, but they have a love-hate relationship with their fans. I mean, the thing is that sometimes, especially if you're like, you know, you've made it, right? So now you're up there with, you know, someone with a big name, right? And you know that, ooh, well, if I get this person's signature, then, you know, I can make some money off of that, right? And we all know that, especially the big timers. They know that, you know, for the most part, most people getting signatures, they're not getting signatures for themselves. You know, they're like, oh, I'm gonna resell this somehow, or this is gonna be worth it, or something like that. And so, you know, they're like, all right, a lot of people will do free signatures, but there are also a lot of people who have abused that situation. And so now you have all of these artists going, all right, well, it's $5 a signature, because people would, you know, people who had a long career and they're in comics, people would come in with like stacks. There'd be like 40 books, 40, 50 books. And they're like, here, sign this, you know? And it's like, what are you doing? What do you mean sign this? That's a ton of work. You know, and it's exhaustive to just sit there and sign 40 books and then for nothing, you know. It's just like, all right, cool, thanks. And then they bounce out and you're like, you know, you could have bought something to make it less, you know, to make it seem less like you were just going, hurry up and sign this so that I can put it back on my stand at my table and try and make some money off of it, you know. So I can understand when people are like, yeah, I hate them, because it can be a problem, right? So, and then, you know, you come to someone, because I remember there's a friend of mine, Humberto Ramos. He used to not charge for signatures, right? And now he charges. And I asked him, I was like, so, you know, you're charging now, like, what happened? Why are you charging? Like, he doesn't charge me, luckily, but you know, I was like, what's going on? And he told me a story about how this person came to him and kept bringing stuff, you know, like, and random things. It wasn't even comics. It was like, hey, can you sign this baseball? Hey, can you know, how about you sign this for me now? And, you know, he had a store. So I want to say it was somewhere back in his hometown. But, you know, it's like he had a store, and what was going on was he was just like, I'm going to get him to sign all kinds of stuff that normally people wouldn't sign. Or, you know, like that they would give him like a baseball or something random like that. And then he would go back to the store and sell it for like tons of money, right? Because people really liked Humberto Ramos and stuff like that. And then he was like, you know, I'm sitting here signing for hours, and for what? You know, next thing I know, it's on eBay or somewhere like that. So they, you know, they're getting jaded by the people who are actually coming in and calling themselves fans. There's a list from people now who died of COVID and feel like they're tragically preventable. Yeah, I can see that. But charging for a signature isn't what they're talking about when artists is being perceived as rude. That's true. No, you're right. And it's more of an artist realize they need to cut down on the people who might be taking advantage. Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. When fans are talking about, like, man, this person was rude, it's because they were rude, you know, and you're like, wow, you didn't need to do that. So, but yeah, so I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, I just don't like it when artists acts like they don't have time. Yeah. Nobody wants to get dismissed, you know, or, you know, like you come in and you've waited, right? You've waited this whole time. And you're like, oh man, I finally get to talk to this artist, and then a friend of theirs shows up. This happened to me, you know, a couple times, and it's like, and a friend would show up, and you just get dismissed. They're like, you know, it's like, oh man, I haven't talked to this person in forever, and they just completely go whatever. Like, especially if you started talking to them, you're like, hey, how's it going? You know, I'm really excited to finally be able to get to talk to you, and then, you know, right? And like, I'm really excited to finally get to talk to you, and then you actually talk to them for like 4 seconds. Their friend shows up, and then they don't even acknowledge that you're there anymore. It's like, dude, you know, and then you don't want to be that person who's just standing there like, yeah, I'm in on your conversation. So now you're the guy who has to leave, and you're like, but I was the one who was here first. So, you know, I'm like, I completely get that. And it sucks, you know, it really does. And it's sad that some people do stuff like that, you know. There are definitely artists who, by almost all the personal accounts, are great people, but their selling manner is terrible. Yeah, or they can't talk to people, right? Like, they don't. Some people, there's also people who don't mean to be rude, right? But they just don't know how. They actually don't know how to interact with people. I've had that happen too. You know, once, because I would be the persistent one. I'm like, man, you're not gonna get rid of me that fast. And you then come to find out, once you get them past, you know, you get them out of their shell, it's like, oh, you're really a decent person. Like, you're a really nice person. Or also, like you said, their bedside manner. Like, there are people who will come in and they'll be like, hi, how you doing? And you're like, all right, cool. And you want to talk to them, and then they go, my books are $10, and then they'll just stare at you. You know what I mean? It's like, well, my books are $10, and you're like, okay, I already, you know. And you just, at one point, I had that happen too, and I was like, well, that's cool. I already have your book. You know, and you're like, okay, now that we've established that, now what? Are you expecting me to go away? You know, and then they look, and then I've had it to where they would just look at you like, well, what do you want then? So, and it's funny because as I teach my students, I keep telling them, I'm like, look, they're just people, right? They're people like you are. So if you treat them like people, then, you know, you'll get a lot further with them than if all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, you're something special, or whatever the case may be. But then in the end, they flip it, you know, and there'll be people who are like, oh, well, I'm important. And it's like, don't you know that I am important? And you're like, well, that's all nice and gravy, but so, I mean, I guess it's, you know, it's a double-edged sword, but I firmly believe that if you're a person who is dependent on people liking you and your stuff, you kind of gotta, you know, you gotta reel that mess in regardless, you know? So, I don't think anyone should, you know, unless it's like they're just having a bad day and they try to take it out on you, and you're just like, I don't know what happened, and then, you know, they go and tell their friends about how horrible you are. I don't really think anyone should leave your table, you know, just mad, or like, I can't believe that this guy, and I talked to this dude, you know. They should leave your table being happy, you know, because you provided something. Like, hey, look, oh, that's really cool ninjas, or hey, that's something like that, you know. Just, it shouldn't be a problem. You should want people to come back to you. Or maybe that's just me, because, you know, I'm doing my own thing, and I'm like, I want you to come back. So, no, we can sit here and talk. It's all good. I I mean, I think I talked to someone today for about half hour. And then they're like, oh, it's good talking to you. All right, bye. I'm like, peace out. Especially since when someone would come up and they wanted to look, they'd move out of the way. You know, like, oh, okay, I don't want to block your space, so you know, there are people who have good etiquette, and then there are people who just don't. Because they don't want to talk to people. Yeah. You know, maybe you should do a panel on how to sell to the fans at the Comic-Con instead of your pitching panel. Huh. You know what, though? I think that would actually, when I say know your audience, I think that might actually be a really good thing to add to that section. You know, it's like, you're a fan, you know, you got these people, or you got this or something, then that's actually really good to add that into knowing your audience. That's a good one. That's gonna happen. Cheers. That's gonna happen. For change. Looks like my work here is done. Fair. Like, and fair. The main thing that's funny to me is that how there can be a platform like, you know, Twitch or YouTube or any of these places, and you have so many people on them, for you not to listen to someone, you know, it's like, oh, you know what, this might be a good idea. Maybe I should listen. There's so many people who are like, whatever, man. What do you know? I'm like, oh, that was a really good idea. Too bad I didn't think of it. So, I don't know. I don't understand why so many people are against, like you said, like change or listening to someone else. Be like, hey, you know what? This would be a really cool idea if you did this. People are weird, man. Breath mints? Oh, man. When I was gonna do another panel. Like, I've been pitching, proper pitching and promoting yourself too, but for some reason they just don't want to do it, right? They're like, we're whatever, we don't, nah. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I don't know how much more I can pack this room, oops, you know, before you think that people would be willing to come in here and actually get something more, like get some more examples or just show people how to do things and stuff like that. But one of them was some of the honorable mention things, and one of them is to not have bad breath. Like, have some mints, you know, have something, because one of my students said that having fresh breath is like a firm handshake for your nose. I was like, okay. And I was like, that's actually pretty cool. And, you know, I was like, all right. But yeah, no, you gotta make sure that your breath isn't, you gotta make sure your breath's not hot. You know what I mean? Like, that's just something that has to be there. You can't have funky breath. Like, come on now. Huh?
Nothing.
What were you gonna say?
I
Why can't you have funky breath? Because if you turn people away with your funktastic breath,
No, I'll use it as a threat. If you don't buy stuff from me, I'll set you on fire with my
with your funky breath.
yes, with my flame breath, I'll burn you alive.
Jeez. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I wanted to cover, you know, but they keep shortening the time for the how-to panels and stuff like that. I've pitched, like, at one point they actually gave me double time, right? Like, I had an hour and a half, which was great, but that only happened once, and then programming was like, nah, we need to give, you know, we need to give William Shatner more time. Or something to that nature. Just wanted the information. My dreams do art full time. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, art full time, you just, one of the big things that I noticed is that you just have to go and do it. Like, you gotta be like, all right, you know what, screw it, it's time to do it. Because, I mean, and you know, trying to be like, oh, well, it's real easy to quit your job and do all that, that's not the case. But my thing is, like, if you, like, I really wanted to create a trading card game, right? Like, that was something that I felt I had to do. And because I felt that I had to do it, I would be, you know, play with kids, go to work, play with the kids, get them to bed, spend time with the wife, then go and start working. You know, right? But it would be like, oh, well, I'm staying up forever, and then getting very little sleep, and then coming back, you know, get a little bit of sleep, go to work, and do it all over again, right? Because, you know, it's more of a commitment thing than anything else, to be honest. But it's that difference between the person who really wants it and who wishes they'd have it, you know. And there are certain levels too, you know, because there are people, like, if you listen to all the motivational coaches and stuff like that, you know, they're all like, oh, you know, you should just go all in, and if your family doesn't understand or your friends don't understand, well, you should leave them because nobody, blah, blah, you know, they say stupid stuff. But it's like there are responsibilities that certain people have that will stop them from doing something, right? Like, it might be slower than what most people would want, but they're still working it, and then they will get it done. That's, to me, like, to be honest, that's what's impressive. When you have someone who's like, look, I'm trying, right? But I'm providing for my family, right? I'm a single parent, or I'm a full-time student, or, you know, whatever the case may be. They're trying, they're hustling. And it's like, good, do it, work, you know. You gotta do it, But if you want it, you know, you'll put in the work. And I know you're working at it. I know you are. Every night I look at my spreadsheet of financials and review my whiteboard of ideas weekly. Good. If a skull and crossbone forms from your breath, gotta mint that mouth. That's true. Speaking of which, do you have any insight on why the STCC Home 2021 didn't have any how-to panels? Yes, I do, actually. Do you know if they will do them again for the on-site convention? Yes, I know that answer too. So, they apparently didn't have a lot of faculty, like a lot of people to do it, because in 2020 they still had all the people that were going to be doing the convention, right? They had all those people employed and all that stuff, so they had more hands to do it. In 2021, they had way less people, or they were trying to save money, so they couldn't hire as many people. And so, because I actually wrote them, and I'm like, hey, I was curious about if I got a panel or not, because I have to record it. And they wrote back, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, we just didn't have the manpower to facilitate all that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But for the on-site, the mini on-site convention that's happening in November, they sent out an email 3 days ago, I think, and they're like, hey, would you like to do a panel at San Diego special edition? And I was like, okay, so this is gonna happen. So I was like, all right, cool. So yes, they're gonna do on-site ones again, for sure. Or at least, that's what they're shaping it up to look like. So. Alright. Let's see where I actually should probably define it more. I want to start full time by drawing what I want and get paid. Now that's a lot harder. Because you'll have to establish. You're gonna have to establish a fan base. That's gonna be the hardest part. Not saying that you can't, right, or that you don't already have it. But what I'm saying is that if you're starting from scratch, in order for you to, be able to say that you're gonna live off of what you're doing, especially like, oh, I want to draw whatever the heck I want to draw. You want to make sure you have a fan base already. It's where that social media is gonna come in. And it's like, and I love it when my students are like, well, I don't really do social media. I'm like, well, you need to, because that's everything right now. If you're not doing social media as an artist, you're gonna be left behind. And you don't have to have thousands of, like I've got 58,000, followers and fans and stuff. It's like, yo, that's a lot. You don't need all that. Right? You just need a dedicated amount of people who are willing to support you, right? And that's really all you need. So you just want to make sure you build that community. Build. The rodent version is called gerbiling. Yeah, that's exactly right. Everyone's art career are against the backdrop of having a dream with all the insecurities, real life problems, real life commitments, taking care of other people's needs, and just the management of one's energy. Yeah, and yes, a manpower issue. Very understandable. The rumors here locally in San Diego is that the SDCC got itself into a bit of a financial quagmire, especially with the Comic-Con Museum still not being open. Well, that would make sense with the whole, manpower thing. And honestly, it's probably why they're doing this mini convention. They gotta try and make some money. So, wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Wouldn't surprise me if they're like, yo, we're hurting. It's like we're hurting pretty bad. We need people to show up. So if they can bring the star power out, for a short convention, they'll still have people come. You know what I mean? People will still show up for sure. So, and to be honest, I'm like, one of the main reasons why I'm trying, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about going, excuse me, especially if, if I can get the same deal as if I was going to Comic-Con, right? They'll give me a table, and I don't have to, I get to be the invited guest type person, so I don't have to fork over for the actual table, which would be great. That's honestly my big thing. I'm like, you're not trying to, like, bamboozle $1,000 out of me. We'll be good. I'll be there. But we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen. Super curious, to be honest. Because what's funny is I have a table for 2022, right? Because it all gets rolled over. So I have a table for 2022, but I don't know about this, right? So it's gonna be interesting. I'm very interested to see how they're gonna have this played out, because nobody has any answers yet. None answers. This is probably one of the reasons why I hate inking digitally, because it's so sensitive, right? It doesn't recognize certain lines, and then you always get these weird, or at least I do, maybe it's just me, but my lines will have these blank lines in between them, and it's like, what is going on? So I always know that I always have cleanup to do, always. And to be honest, it doesn't really happen when I'm inking traditionally. And we all know I hate that. You're using a backstretcher. What? If it rolls over, does that mean the table is going to tumble and roll along with the supplies? What the heck are you talking about? Look, he's coming along. We're gonna have to bump that up. Can I tell you, I have no idea why I decided it would be a good idea to add all this stupid, nonsensical detail. Like, there's no reason for any of this. I could have gave him a very simple arm, but no, I had to try and do something stupid like this. Although I have to say, I like it. I like it, but what I don't like, what I already know I'm not gonna like, is having to draw it again and again and again and again. You spoke of table rolling. Oh. Got it. That makes a lot more sense now. Ninjas. So, Redacted, man, what are you up to today? Anything fun? I'm on my phone. Is it the height of your fun? Is it you're on your phone? I'm going to do more sketches. Oh, okay. Cool. What do you plan on drawing? Are you going to do more sketch studies? What are of anything specific, or are you just gonna draw? Like, I'm gonna draw whatever floats my boat. All right, like I said, it's gonna be a short stream, so today is definitely shorty McShort stream, so we're gonna be ending in 6 minutes. Want to be able to, you know, kind of wind down, but I figured come by, say hi, talk to anyone who's gonna be here. Excuse me. Get a little bit more inking done, you know. Because why not? That's what we love, right? The inking. The inking. Maybe solitary gerbil. Okay. So, what's your rating on OTAKON, and what did you learn to do differently for the next convention when it happens? So OTAKON itself, I think, did a lot of things right, as far as the experience for both fans and vendors. The layout was interesting, you know, so that was really good. I think they had some rules that were a bit nonsensical. So for me, I'd probably rate it at a strong 7. A 7 out of 10. Not the best, not the worst, but it was really, I mean, it was good, but, and it could have been because of COVID. It is definitely something to go to again, right? I think the next time is going to be a little bit better depending on what it is, but as of right now, I'd give it a solid 7. What I learned differently, if I plan on going to another anime convention, it would be that I need to bring my stuff up front, you know, like, or in behind me. It's just like, bam, like, here are my 20 prints, you know, this is what I'm providing you. I might have some headbands or keychains or something like that, but it's all gonna be up front, right? No more flipping through books, because it was almost like they were too afraid to do it. Like, I had to tell people, it's like, it's okay, you can actually look through it. And they're like, oh, really? I didn't know. And so it's like, huh. You know, it's just a different culture. So it would be to make sure you know your audience. You know, right? What are you getting into? The reason why I didn't really know is because, you know, I didn't actually find out, like, you know, officially that I was going to be part of this con until a week and a half before it happened. So wasn't a lot of time. I was just like, oh crap, I gotta get stuff together, you know. So be another good talking point, you know. Don't rush into things. But I think it was really, from what I could tell, it was very good for the fans. Like, they got a lot out of it. So that's good. And I think that's what's going to be important for the cons that come, you know, depending on what happens, 2022 or, you know, more this year or whatever. You're really going to have to make it about the fans. So yeah. Check out absolutely no words. For what? Or what is that? Oh no. No. They're like, nah, it's alright. I don't want that. It's probably the same people who did all that super squeaking stuff, you know, with people just really making a lot of noise. I mean, it's fun, but all right, fellas, it's time for me to go. I'm gonna go ahead and call it tonight so that we can, you know, be strong and awesome about things tomorrow.
Okay.
Right, so there we go. Started inking him because it was important, right? Because when we take this out, hi Twilight. Does that mean, I know it says it already, short stream. I've already been streaming for an hour and 16 minutes. I know, I'm sorry. Well, today was really slow. Like, today was slow. Yeah, yes, I'm ending. I'm sorry. I mean, when your convention goes from 10 to 10 every day except for the last one, you know, it's a bit rough. But here's the thing, like, tomorrow I will be refreshed and ready to go, and, you know, life is gonna be great. Didn't see the title. Yeah, it was there. I made sure I told people. I'm like, look, it's gonna be a short stream today, and you know, so a really great conversation. Wish you were there, but I was trying. Mondo was being mean. But here's the thing, we can catch up tomorrow because I'll be streaming at the regular time for the regular amount of time. Same time, regular amount of time, same channel. Okay? So, but I'm headed off to bed. It's like, I'm definitely heading off to bed because that's what needs to happen right now. What regular time? 8:30. 8:30. Yep, 8:30 Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. Those are my regular times. Oh, thank you for the bits. So yeah, those are my regular times. Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday at 8:30. Sometimes I come in early, sometimes I come in like 5 minutes late, but generally it's 8:30. So, all right, but like I said, thank you guys so very much for coming in. Sorry for the latecomers. I will gladly explain everything about OTAKON on Monday. So I hope to see you there as we continue to work on this poster. So yeah, I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you so very much for coming in, and I'll rematch the stream for you. All right. Thank you guys. See you later. We'll see you tomorrow. Later.